So now we're going to go on the view controller, and you're going to start to see how things are connected, and we're also going to start to write some code. So you're going to go to view data here. So here we have this city constant to which we have assigned the string Paris. And we have this line of code below, which is display city weather. And this is a function that we have declared right here that takes one parameter, which is a string, and that is a city. So we're going to remove the comment signs and pass as a parameter the city constant. So let's see how this works inside display city weather. We have another function that we call load weather data, and this one takes also a parameter, which is the same city. So we're going to skip that. We're just going to go straight to load weather data and see what happens inside. So we have this city parameter that we're going to use to then pass to this function get city data. So that's a lot of steps. So this one you're probably already familiar because we looked at that in the previous lesson. And this is the function that we use to do our API call. And this city string, we're going to use this one to pass to the URL, and that's going to be interpolated in order to return a URL for the corresponding city. So we're going to do an API call for the city of Paris in that instance. And then you're going to have, of course, your API key that you must not forget. So back to the view controller. So what we're going to do is then we have the completion handler, which is the array, and that's going to assign to self forecast. So we're going to have a forecast for 5-day weather forecast for the city of Paris. So if you remember, if we go back to the download of the data, we have this array which includes city objects, and we're going to create 5-day weather forecast for the city of Paris, and each of them is going to be appended to this array, and that's going to be then returned as a completion handler. So this is this array that we use as a result of the 5-day forecast. So this is the data, and then we're going to assign this to these forecasts, which is going to include also city objects. Then we're going to use this one to then assign to the outlets that we have on our application, and finally display the weather data. So I put comments in order to make things more understandable. So here display weather for 1 day, which is today. So that's going to start for today first. And we have all these lines of code, and that corresponds to the outlets that we have right up here that we're going to need to connect to the layout, to the main storyboard. So let's start with the city name. We have it then forecast. And each time we're going to use actually the first result that we're going to have in that array inside forecast, and that's going to be 0 in order to get the first, so the object at the index position 0. So we're going to go to the main storyboard and open the main, so the assistant editor. So we're going to go to main storyboard to have it on one side and make sure that we connect the outlets to the corresponding variable. So first we have city name. So you're going to click, then drag over to city. We're going to do the same for temperature. So that's going to be this one. Then we have forecast, and that's going to be for that label. And finally, we have dates that we could leave for now. We don't need to use the date. It's going to be something that we're going to be doing later. We have another functions for the display date. So that's going to be next. So now what we're going to do, so now that we have the API call, we're going to save, and then we're going to run it, and we're going to see how this looks. And here you go. So that's the first information that we get from the city of Paris. So it is 10 degrees with a clear sky. Next, we're going to have also informations below. That's going to be displayed with the table view. We're going to see that in the following video.